Hi everyone. So I've been getting a lot of questions about how exactly our early bar prep and course program works for the July 2025 early bar timeframe or even February 26th. So whether you have booked a consultation with me and you're watching this to gain more information so I can answer any questions you have, or perhaps you're a new follower, this is an overview of our early bar prep and general course program for July 25 and beyond. So first of all, who should start early? Really everybody. The California bar exam is somewhat of a beast based on the amount of subjects that you need to know and the amount of content, and then learning how to take all that law and apply it to essays, performance tests, and the multiple choice if you are taking that component of the exam. Only attorney applicants are exempt in certain circumstances for taking the multiple choice. So primarily, those that start early are foreign attorney applicants, LLM enrolled applicants, attorney applicants within the United States that perhaps took years and years practicing elsewhere or working in another field and are now wanting to get licensed here, and repeat applicants that have taken some bars off, and of course, first-time takers in their last few months or semester of law school. So it really does pertain to every type of applicant. And it starts with scheduling. So the first thing that I do is I customize a schedule for you. The schedule is around the type of applicant you are, your background. Perhaps you've taken the exam before, so I'm customizing it towards your scores and what I see in the gaps and where you need to focus. But the main goal of your early bar prep schedule is to focus on the substantive law and start really building your foundation of knowledge of law. A lot of applicants that start early, they know that they're going to be busy. They know they have a busy personal schedule. Maybe they're working, maybe they're parents, or maybe they just know that individually they don't do well in a crammed 2.5-month program, and they need to start early to develop the training and the skills that are necessary to really get the exam done. So the schedule guides you, number one, on the law. And you're spending about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on when you start your early bar prep, but you're spending about 2 to 3 weeks on each subject. And the flow of the subjects are really targeted substantive law review through our amazing materials. We are not the type of course that likes to read law to applicants. I find that to be really counterproductive. So instead, I have you learn the law in a certain methodology where you have a high level of connectivity with the requisite elements of law, whether it be for the causes of action, exceptions, or defenses. And you're reviewing the law categorically. So maybe on a Monday, you're reviewing all the different types of homicide. Maybe you're focusing on criminal law that week. And the next day, you're focusing on the inchoate crimes, like conspiracy, attempt, solicitation. I'm having a high level of connectivity for you in that review. And after you get into your law review for the categories, then we focus on the second step, which is approach. So approach to the multiple choice questions, approach to the essays, and how to write for these categories that you're reviewing, how to issue spot, what the analytical posture should look like for these different areas, crossovers that could come up, so other subjects being tested with them, and really starting the ball rolling on your training of issue spotting scope, number one, and strategy to that categorical area of law. So substantive law review, and then approach. And then the third step is submission of work. So we start the data collection on your multiple choice work. Most of my applicants do enroll in Adaptabar as their source of questions, or they're even doing UWorld, which I do like. I've been exploring that. So we can talk about that in the consult, or if you enroll, which I recommend for you. Sometimes you have Adaptabar with your school or your LLM programs. So then that works nicely. So it just depends on what the circumstance is for you. And once you start submitting your multiple choice work and your essay work, we also start the performance test. And there's been some changes with the PT over the last couple of years. We have a remote exam, of course. So all of the training is in line with the remote format. and I teach you and start training you on how to tackle the PT, which is a very important part of the test. It's worth the wait of 2 to 3 essays. So it's important in the early phase that you're not just reviewing law and wasting time on making outlines and flashcards that kind of just collect dust and sit there. You really want to come out of your early prep program, and it is a course. It's not just an independent study. There is a connectivity between tutor and student, students and I, really making sure that that there is progression and that you are having that connection with, moving towards the standard. And once you start submitting your work in step 3, you start submitting essays again, performance tests, and multiple choice work if you're doing the multiple choice area. Then we go into tutoring and assessment even in the early months. And that's really a very important part of it all, because you don't want to just be like in a course and you're doing work and you're not really sure where you stand. Sure, you have greater feedback on your essays and your performance tests, and you can see your score range on multiple choice work and your scores from your data. However, I come in to really see what the big picture is looking like. Are you improving? Are there areas of law that you need more practice in? How's your issue spotting going? Are you connecting with the approach? So we have over 50 essay approaches on how to write for every area that is tested based on 25 to 30 years of patterns in California. But just because an applicant watches an approach, sometimes it's enough, and they're definitely helpful. It's better to have them than not. But sometimes it's still not connecting. Sometimes I have to come in and say, you're maybe not taking this literally enough, or there are issues that you're still not seeing within your scope pursuant to the facts. So it's important in the early phase to start gaining the clarity. One of the main reasons applicants keep taking the California bar exam over and over again is because they don't know what they're doing wrong. And you're in courses and you go from course to course sometimes, hopefully not, but it does happen. And you're just saying to yourself, why do I have to keep taking this? So it's my job not only to assess the patterns and things that I see that need improvement, but number one, to give applicants the clarity of what they're doing wrong and how to improve. And it's in those assessments that we're also looking at the balance of the scheduling, and is it working? Do we need to increase the work or maybe pull it back a little bit, and how the flow overall is going. So there's some coaching involved as well. And then you go to, the next chapter of your scheduling. So I recommend typically no less than 2 months of early bar prep. 4 is ideal. Right now we have enrollment going on, and depending on when you'll watch this, we always have enrollment open for early bar prep. Those spots do get taken quite quickly, so make sure that you schedule a consultation with me. And you can email us at cabarstyle@yahoo.com. That's cabarstyle@yahoo.com. And after you go through your early bar prep, and also actually forgot to say this, the weeks of early bar prep are typically really chill. So 10-hour weeks, maybe 15, depending if you're working or not. It's not meant to overwhelm you or burn you out. If you start early, then you really have to have a good flow. And that's where the schedule is going to guide you so that you know what you're doing about 5 days a week. So I like applicants to take at least 2 days off during early bar prep and not have a 7-day schedule. And I can formulate it however you want. So sometimes if I have busy working applicants on the weekends, I'm making the work heavier, or maybe they'll just do a few days during the week and then the weekends heavier. So it just depends on how you want me to do it. But again, the goal is to really get a very good foundation, especially on those big multiple choice subjects like criminal law, procedure, torts, contracts, real property, evidence, constitutional law, and Civ Pro. Those are really big subjects. And I also try and throw in professional responsibility at least, because it comes up on every single California bar exam essay portion. Now, when you get to the end of your early bar prep, you're not ready to take the exam. You have somewhat of a foundation. You definitely have clarity starting on where you stand with essay organization, issue spotting, your PT approach, and progression, and also your multiple choice. But that's where we have a pre-course assessment. and we're coming up with the next game plan for your next round of preparation. And that's where we go into the 2.5-month course right before the test. That is definitely more of like a bar boot camp. It is a heavy period of preparation. Your hourly commitment goes up to about, for attorney applicants, 25, 30 hours a week, like a part-time job, and all other applicants, more like a 30, 35 hour study week. So it is an intense time. My scheduling is definitely challenging and all encompassing. It is meant for you to really gain a very good grasp and scope on all the different ways that these areas of law are tested on the essays, to start a tracking process with your early prep data. So I have other video content on that, but that's a whole MBE game plan. And then also, of course, keep up the momentum on the PT. In the course, we start weekly Zooms. So you have a new course schedule that you get. And we start our weekly Zooms where I go into issue spotting. I go into, on my predictions on essays. We talk about, we have a performance test workshop. We have a legal analysis and writing workshop and multiple choice strategy classes. And then also go into a lot of practice together so you can get that hands-on interpretation and training of how to attack the essays MPT. And we also do simulated exam testing. We have memorization tools and skills and a solidification time about 2 weeks before the test. So if you're working, I would say, try to do at least part-time if you can. If you can't, at least the 2 weeks before the test, take the time off if you can, and your job will allow you to, because it's a really, you need a lot of brain power during that time to focus and really get all the law down. You have some law at that point in your mind for sure. You have a foundation, but you need to have the black letter law completely down for the most part. Doesn't have to be perfect, but they are looking for accurate rule statements and, of course, issue spotting. So a lot goes on in that general course. But, of course, if you do the early bar prep, and I see this all the time, by the time, and you get the schedule done, because, of course, you have to do the work, and most applicants do, then by the time you're like halfway through the general course, such a level of connectivity and clarity starts happening. And by that time, you're just rocking and rolling through your schedule. It doesn't mean you don't hit subjects that maybe you need more practice in or writing in. And of course, that's what I'm there to guide you on. But it really is a beautiful kind of harmony of the two different courses, right, where you have this early prep scheme and then you go into the general course. A lot of times the general course is not enough for a lot of applicants, especially foreign attorneys that didn't go to law school in the States, and they have a lot of law to be exposed to, or out-of-state applicants that went to law school outside California, because we have the California discrepancies, distinguishing subjects to know, so like civil procedure and evidence, wills, trusts. And the beauty of my scheduling is that if you do the early bar prep, when you get to the general course, you're doing another round of full multiple choice subjects. We refer to them as the MBE subjects. And then you're going into the California subjects as well. And then we do rounds of review, basically. It's kind of hard to go into, and I don't want to do information overload in this video, but we do multiple rounds of review. So you're not just going through one round of review and then finishing and then going, gosh, I haven't seen that subject in months. There has to be a constant re-review of the subject matter. And that's where really good master scheduling comes in, so that you're not overwhelmed and you know how to do it. And that's, of course, my job, to make sure the scheduling and everything else is on par. So there's a lot that goes on at CA Bar Style. We are enrolling now. We have such great stuff going on for 2025 into 2026. If you'd like to book your consult, again, email us at cabarstyle@yahoo.com. I look forward to talking with you for early bar prep. You have to do a consult, because that's where I configure your whole strategy and game plan for you individually. And so please book them, and I look forward to talking to you. Have a good one.